Hi friends, welcome back to 10-minute recaps. Before we start, warning. Spoilers ahead. Today, I'm gonna explain a 2021 American fantasy and adventure movie called Jungle Cruise. The movie begins with an explanation about the legend of the Tears of the Moon from Amazon. They are petals from a magic tree that could cure any illness and break any curse. In the mid-16th century, Spanish conquistadors, led by Aguirre, undertake an expedition to Amazon forest to seek the tree out and possess the tears power. However, they were beaten by the power of nature, causing the journey to end in failure. The legend states that Aguirre was saved by local villagers. Despite the kindness that was given, the greedy Aguirre attacked them, forcing the chief to hand over the sacred arrowhead, but later condemned to be a prisoner of the jungle. In 1916, McGregor explains to the Royal Society of Explorers that Tears of the Moon is not a myth and can be used for medical purposes. Thus, he requests access to the ancient arrowhead that was recently recovered, but the group rejects his request, saying that it is just a waste of time. While McGregor keeps trying to convince the group, his sister, Lily, leaves the hall and sneaks into the archive room. She manages to dodge and distract the people inside that room and eventually comes across a crate containing the sacred arrowhead, which will be the key to find the Tears of the Moon. Prince Joachim, who is also seeking for the arrowhead, discovers that it has been stolen and spots Lily. He immediately orders the others to capture her. She attempts to escape on a ladder and knocks everyone out. However, Joachim manages to hit the ladder, causing Lily to hang off at the edge of the ladder. Luckily, McGregor sees her and stops a bus, letting her drop, and both of them manage to escape with the arrowhead. On the other side, a curator accidentally reveals Joachim's identity to others. He gets angry and starts to eliminate everyone in the room. Lily and McGregor prepare themselves to go to Amazon to find the Tears of the Moon. The scene moves to South America, where a skipper called Frank is taking a group of rich people on a ride across the Amazon River on his old boat, L'Aquila. He has set up a bunch of cheap tricks to entertain the passengers, but they don't seem interested in that as they are frightened every time he performs the tricks. He also engages in many lame puns which confuse the passengers. Because of that, even one of the passengers is willing to pay him a lot of money only to make the boat go faster. Long story short, Lily and McGregor arrive in South America to seek out Nilo, a harbor master that will provide them a boat for the expedition. Turns out that Frank owes Nilo money and he decides to take out Frank's boat's engine until he pays the debt. Frank secretly follows him and sneaks into his office to get his engine back. In the meantime, while McGregor goes around the bar, Lily arrives at Nilo's office and meets Frank, who disguises himself as Nilo. She helps him to retrieve his boat key and Frank somehow manages to convince her to hire him for the expedition to the tree. They almost come to an agreement until McGregor appears with the real Nilo. Lily has lost her trust in the skipper, and when she is about to leave, suddenly a wild jaguar appears and starts terrorizing people in the bar. Frank decides to fight the jaguar and manages to take him out of the bar with a piece of meat. This action then convinces Lily and McGregor to hire him for the expedition. As Frank reclaims his engine, he reveals that the jaguar, Proxima, is Frank's pet and he deliberately ordered Proxima to make a scene at the bar. While Frank and McGregor are debating about the luggages, Lily is kidnapped by bird poachers hired by Joachim. Luckily she is a professional lockpicker and manages to free herself from the cage. Frank comes to help her and they run towards the boat as Joachim's henchmen chase after them. Long story short, after a long and exhausting chase, Lily, Frank, and McGregor regroup on L'Aquila and the journey to the tree begins. Realizing that Lily escaped from his men's grasp, the German emerges from his submarine and starts firing at them with a machine gun, causing the boat to lose power and force Frank to move the boat manually. He even launches a torpedo at them, but Frank manages to drive the boat through an old building as the torpedo passes under them. They eventually run away from Joachim while the submarine gets stuck and hits Nilo's other boats. On their way, Frank tries to get closer to the siblings by telling his cheap jokes. Lily also introduces a moving picture camera to the skipper. They decide to stop to rest while Frank serves them freshly fried piranhas for dinner. Later that night, Lily and McGregor figure out that Proxima is Frank's pet. This fact makes Lily very upset and loses her trust again. On the other side, Joachim and his men head over to an underground cavern where Aguirre and his men were imprisoned. Joachim drips river water which awakens Aguirre, who currently possesses snakes within his body. He agrees to help the German to seek out the Tears of the Moon because it's the only way to break the curse. With a detonator, Joachim floods the cavern with river water to reawaken the remaining conquistadors. The next day, thanks to the route Lily chose earlier, they come across rough water and nearly fall down to a huge waterfall. Luckily, Frank is a skillful boat driver and manages to get them on the other path to safety. They pull over to the land and stop for a moment. While cutting down trees, McGregor implicitly reveals to Frank that he was disowned by his family because he is gay. He adds that Lily was always there for him, supporting him. That's why he is willing to follow her wherever she goes. Lily sneaks into Frank's room where she discovers that he is a big fan of automobiles and finds several maps of the magic tree. Upon the men returning to the boat, Lily immediately accuses Frank, telling him that he's after the tears of the moon for himself. He then tells her that he has given up on that plan for a very long time because he always failed. A few moments later, they are knocked out by darts. They are captured by locals and are brought to a native tribe. The chieftain, who speaks in Tupi language, requests Lily to give them back the arrowhead. Lily insists and refuses to give it up. She then manages to break free and attempts to escape. However, Sam reveals that the scene has been set up by Frank. Lily is infuriated with his constant deception and punches him. Later, Lily talks to Sam, who helps her to translate the writing in the arrowhead. She informs her the exact location of the tree and explains that the tree only blooms under a blood moon, which occurs in 2 days. Suddenly, Agira and his men, with their disgusting appearance, appear at the tribe and start attacking people. It seems like Agira and Frank know each other. The skipper and Lily attempt to escape through a rope, but they fail. After a rough fight, the conquistadors manage to get the arrowhead, but Frank retrieves it and throws it back to Lily while he gets stabbed by Aguirre's blade and falls down to the water. Lily escapes and is told to get away from the river. The conquistadors have to pull back since the curse prevents them from going beyond the river. They then send a message to Joachim by using the bees. The next day, Lily is shocked when he finds out that Frank is alive with the blade still stabbed in his chest. He then reveals that his real name is Francisco and he is roughly 400 years old. Lily helps him to pull the blade out of his chest. Frank and Lily continue their journey themselves while McGregor stays behind with Sam since he is injured. Frank shares his past story to the woman. He and Aguirre had grown up together like brothers. At some point, Aguirre's daughter had fallen ill and he sought out the tears of the moon to cure her, where Frank was assigned as the cartographer. However, they were beaten by nature and Aguirre lost most of his men. The remaining men refused to turn back and later they were found by the villagers, who used the petals of the tree to heal them. However, Aguirre became impatient and forced the chieftain to give him the arrowhead. The chieftain refused as he wasn't worthy enough, so Aguirre killed him. Frank then helped the chief's daughter to secure the arrowhead. Before the chieftain died, he cursed Aguirre and his men to be bound to the jungle and never be able to leave. Aguirre hated Frank for betraying him. Since then, they repeatedly fight with each other until Frank set up a trap to lure Aguirre and his men into a cavern away from the river, keeping them trapped there for centuries. After that, Frank built a town and got closer with nearby villagers. He then reveals that he has been searching for the tears of the moon so he can die peacefully. In his submarine, the bees inform the prince Lily's location and he immediately orders his men to change course. Long story short, the submarine manages to reach the informed location and find Sam and McGregor. Joachim takes Lily's brother with him while the tribe leader swims away. He forces McGregor to lead them to Lily's current location. On the other side, the boat eventually arrives at La Luna Rota, the real location of the tears of the moon. Lily must overcome her fear of swimming because she is needed to help Frank to pull a lever that will open a chamber since his body is too huge. After several attempts and almost losing her breath, she manages to pull it down and the river water suddenly recedes. Unfortunately, Joachim and McGregor have been waiting for them under the water. Joachim forces them to enter the passage and Lily is forced to hand over the arrowhead. The German explains that he will use the petals to win the war. They finally arrive at the tree and the prince orders Lily and Frank to activate the magic tree. They realize that the arrowhead is meant to be a heart and eventually discover a red gem hidden in it. Under the blood moon, Lily puts the gem into the broken-hearted warrior figure and the tree starts to bloom. Because only one of them will receive the petal, Lily deliberately shoots Frank and after that they walk towards the petals. The immortal Frank returns to the boat and eliminates Joachim's men while Lily outsmarts Joachim and runs towards the petals alone before time's up. She manages to secure a petal and hands it over to Frank. Suddenly, the conquistadors join the chaos and Aguirre immediately attacks Joachim with snakes for betraying him. Frank hands over the petal to McGregor and then engages in a fight with Aguirre and his men on the boat. The skipper purposely steers the boat toward a wall to block the river. A wild Joachim appears, but this time McGregor punches him in the face, causing him to be killed by a falling pillar. The boat crashes into the wall, stopping the water from flowing and permanently imprisoning Aguirre, his men, and Frank. Lily decides to give the petal to Frank. It doesn't appear to work at first, but Proxima roars as she sees that the stone around Frank crumbles. Frank is brought back to life, but without immortality. Lily immediately runs towards him and hugs the annoying skipper. The trio safely arrive at the harbor and return to London. At the end of the movie, McGregor rejects the invitation of membership from the Royal Society while Lily buys Frank his long-awaited automobile. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.